Oh, hello. It's me, Jenny. I'm here with my two sisters, Lisa and Melissa.
Hey.
Hi.
We're missing one, but Diana, but it's all right. We're going to get through this. We've been always in deep discussions every time we get together. We're trying to see how we can actually connect with everyone that's watching. Guys, there's a lot of people that are going through tough times right now or have been going through it for a while now. What are some ways that we can talk about, like some things that we can talk about that to keep people more positive and let them know that there's hope on the other side of their struggle?
You got to try to find the good out of everything, every situation, because there's always somebody that has it worse than you. And you got to just be grateful for every little thing that you have, count your blessings, and try to find a positive in every negative situation.
Yeah, I think if you harp on how bad things are going, bad things will continue to go that way.
Yeah.
But if you start exactly focusing on positives and trying to understand, like trying to put your mindset, shift it into a better positive direction, then better things will start happening for you.
I mean, I definitely have had situations, especially lately, that have, most people would lose hope and faith. And I think, if anything, it's brought me to faith more. And, I'm just looking, again, like you said before, for all the positives. And something internally is just like, I have my friends, my coworkers at work, like, one of my friends that I work with, she brought me closer to her church and introduced me to go there one day. And I attended, and I just felt like this positive change within me. Like, I don't know, I just felt like a lot of hope, and it felt good. So I started going more and more. And I feel like even on my down days, she can tell, and she'll come to me and at work, and she'll like say something like something positive, and it kind of reassures my faith. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, thank you. Like, I needed that, And I feel like lately more and more, especially, everybody's gone through this Hurricane Milton, and it's really been detrimental for a lot of people. So I feel like right now the best thing you have is your faith, and hold on to that and look for all the positives in your life, because yes, other people have it way worse. That doesn't take away from what you have lost, but just keep looking forward. There's nothing we can do. We can't go back to change the past. Like, you just gotta keep moving forward, and good things will happen again. It doesn't, after the rain comes the sunshine.
And the rainbow.
The rainbows.
Let's go.
So
I know you had told us about a story the other day about a call that you had made for one of your customers. What is the word? Patients. Yeah, and you were like praying, right? Like to have this call be answered.
Yeah. So yeah, did have a patient the other day, and this is just something that kind of reaffirms your faith sometimes. I had a patient, and normally, there's a process, there's a certain process that the patient has to do themselves, but she was having a difficult time doing that, and she was upset on the phone, on the verge of tears. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try to do this for you and try to get her appointment somewhere. I called a few places. Everybody was telling me no. So after a few tries, I was like, I can't give up. I have to get this for this lady. So I just kind of silently prayed to myself, and I'm like, Lord, please let us get an appointment for this woman. And the next call, they said, yeah, we have something next week, actually. And I was like, oh, great, and I'm like, all right. And I always ask, the person I'm talking with, and what was your name again? And she's like, Hope. Or no, it was Faith. I'm sorry. So I said, what was your name again? And she said, it's Faith. I was like, Faith, of course it is. It's like, thank you, Faith. And but it felt good after that. It was like, God's like, I see you. Don't worry, like, I'm watching. I've got you.
I feel like the signs are always there, and it's like obvious signs.
Yeah.
So like for her name to be Faith is just kind of like.
Yeah. Like, keep the
what
faith.
What are the odds
keep
of
faith,
that? Keep that faith, like keep going, like like you were praying you were praying that someone would answer the phone too.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I'm going, anytime I'm going through anything, like if I'm in my car rides and I'm talking out loud to God, and I'm just like, okay, let this happen like this way, and then like shortly after I'll see that it happens, and I'm just like, I know that was you, like so so it's just like such a nice feeling.
I would say also, not to get too into this, but as far as like we were talking last night about prayers, and when you ask for strength, when you ask for patience, when you ask for
Oh yeah.
all of these types of things, be careful what you pray for, right? Because you know God will give you those challenges.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
So
For
you
sure.
can overcome those things, and he's like, "Oh, I'll
Yeah.
get you through it, but you know, you may not like the situation I'm going to put you in." But
Yeah.
and I definitely feel that the most, like through the whole hurricane thing, I feel that the most, like this has definitely put me to the test.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I lean on God, the more I'm being tested in every
Oh,
way,
yeah.
and every
sure.
distraction that's coming my way, I'm like
That
not
is-
trying to knock them all
Exactly.
out.
That
you
is
know?
true. And
Yeah.
and I feel like those obstacles could also be coming in from the other, like the
Yeah.
devil's side.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah,
to test your
of
faith, right? Like that's
course.
mainly what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But also, it's God making sure that you are strong enough, right, to stay focused
Right.
and know
Yeah.
that better things are coming.
Uh-huh.
You know, like to test your faith too.
Exactly. And you know, he prepares the way, you know, and you know, he's not going to give you something if you're not ready for it. So you're going to
Yeah.
go through these, like right
Right.
now, you're going through an obstacle right now, and that's to test your faith.
Right.
Like, how much are you going to still lean on God when you're going through all these different things coming at you
Right.
left and right? The
'Cause
devil's
it's-
trying to,
Mhm.
the
It's
devil's
easy
trying
for
to
people
come
to
in.
blame God and
Exactly,
like question
yeah.
why
No,
are you
you-
doing this,
yeah.
but it's all for good reason. You know, like
Yeah.
good will
God
come in
will
the end.
always turn whatever situation around for your good. If you walk in faith and you trust him and you know, you put him in your life,
And
he
I-
got his people. He got you, you know?
And I feel like, especially lately, you know, especially after the storm, you know, everybody's kind of walking around in the fog, and everybody's just kind of like on go mode, you know, and I feel like it's giving me it's more distractions coming my way. I've got to take care of this. I've got to take care of that.
Yeah.
Then I'm on my phone, and I feel like I have so many distractions that I literally last night had to say to myself, okay, put your phone away, like open up your Bible or something and read it. Like make the time, because
Yeah.
by the time I'm laying in bed, I'm like, okay, we have that distraction of the phone or a TV or whatever, and it's like those are your last things before you go to bed.
That's
you
it.
know?
Yeah,
And-
that's interesting you say that, because like last night I read, because I'm doing a Proverbs 31 challenge, reading a Proverbs every day. So last night I was reading, and after I read, I felt God tell me like, put your phone away after this, because it's so good to. The last thing you hear before bed is God's word, reading God's word, because then after you get on your phone, you start scrolling, and then you know you start putting other things that are not
It's
of
just
God
out
in
of-
your
it's out
mind.
of your
yeah,
mind
it's
now.
like,
Exactly.
okay,
So
I
now-
did it. Now I'm
exactly,
going.
yeah.
Now I'm going to
So-
get back to what I was doing, and then
Yeah.
you forgot. It's in
Yeah.
one ear and out the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And another thing that we were talking about is how you will start getting blessings once you start letting go of things that are holding you back in life.
Oh yeah.
And that's with careers, with your jobs, with relationships, with family, you know, like with any kind of situation that you can possibly have in life. Once you are ready to let go of those things that are hindering your growth, then you will start seeing those doors opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like so many times it's like, you know, in relationships or even like so many people like jobs. Oh, I want to start my new business, but I have this, you know, income that is guaranteed, hourly pay. I had to stay in this building for from 9 to 5, and they're scared to take that jump. But then once they say, you know what, I'm going to put my 2 weeks notice in, and I'm going to focus on my career that I want for myself, then opportunities start coming your way left and right.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you didn't even get to experience that yet until you were ready to shut those, you know, to put that other stuff behind you.
Yeah. You got
Yes.
to take a leap of faith
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's a
Yeah,
leap of faith.
but
Like
also-
faith is like such a word now that me and Vince were talking about it the other night. Like, oh, faith, that's a nice name actually. Like,
Yeah, it
just
is.
it's
I was
that's a
thinking the
nice
same
word.
thing.
It's a nice
Yeah.
name. Like,
Yeah, when I had that lady on the phone and she said her name was Faith, I was like, you know, that is a really pretty name, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. Like, and that's something like I've had conversations with my 16-year-old daughter. Is basically the conversations I've had with her. Is, you know, she was kind of feeling hopeless at one point about just teenage things, you know, that they go through, and I was explaining to her, like, you know, you have to leave those people and those things in the past, and it's the only way. You got to close that door And that's the only way you're going to be able to move forward. And it's, as I'm learning things, I'm teaching it to them because
Which
I
is great
see-
because I feel like
Yeah.
we were not like raised that way. You
Right,
know, like
right.
we didn't
No,
grow up that
yeah.
way. Well,
Right.
maybe it's just more information at more at our fingertips now. But for us to be able to go through these events or experiences and understand that these things are happening for us for reasons or not happening for us for reasons,
Yes.
then to help them understand that too at younger ages, so that they're not learning it in their 30, in their mid
Right,
30s, in their
right.
late 30s and 40s. You know, like
Right.
they're already understanding that
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
is a process and there is,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
an agenda
It's
for
so
us.
important to like I'm so glad that like I found God, that now I can teach my kids about God and they could grow up with that, because you know, going through life without God but without like knowing Jesus and having a relationship with Jesus, it's hard. Life is hard and it will knock you down, and you're not meant to carry all these different burdens with you. You know, God, he wants to carry that baggage. It's not meant to, you're not meant to hold it by yourself. So knowing that my kids can grow up knowing that they don't have to do this walk alone, like
Right.
they have Jesus
Right.
to help them, you know, that makes me
Right.
happy to know, because you know
that's true.
we didn't
We
grow
may
like
not,
that.
and
Yeah.
and exactly like that. They always have
No matter
Jesus,
what.
and
Yeah.
it's like no
Yeah.
matter if we're not here tomorrow,
Right,
like at
right.
least they can still keep their faith going
Exactly,
strong.
yeah.
You know, and there's been times where I had like days where I just felt like alone,
Mm-hmm.
but that was before I really like started getting to know Jesus. And now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
even if I start maybe having those thoughts, I'm like, you know what? I know you're here with me. I'm never alone. You're
Never, yeah.
always there. And that's something I just try to pass along to them. Like, don't forget to pray before your bed, you know, try to teach them how to pray. Like, you know, and just explain those things to them, because I want them to have that. Like I saw this
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
quote that says something like, teach your children to pray, so when they're going through something, they go to God and not to the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because the world, I mean, everything in the music, the movies, everything, they have their own, like they're trying, agenda. Everything's just worldly stuff. It's not anything of God. They try to remove God from everything, and you think that this stuff is right, but it's not. And when you teach your kids early, you know, they get to grow up.
Well,
with
even
knowing,
us, you know, growing up, it wasn't like faith
Yeah.
was pushed on us.
No,
you know,
not at
whatever.
all, yeah.
So when you're growing up and going through life,
Mm-hmm.
everything around you seems like this is the normal.
yeah,
You know, there's nothing wrong with this. This
Yeah.
is how I've always lived. This
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
is what I've always listened to. This is what I've always watched. What's the big deal? And then one day you're like, whoa, I was
Yeah.
so wrong.
For
Like,
It's so
real.
true because like though we didn't grow up super religious, but you know like. You know, I feel like Dad was into the Bible a lot,
Yeah.
and so like I feel like things that he would say, I understand now as an adult.
right.
Like how he wouldn't want to watch The Exorcist, and he wouldn't want that stuff inside the
Yeah.
house, and we were like, oh come on,
Yeah.
it's a good movie. You know, like it's a scary movie, we like
Yeah,
it. But now
yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to watch that in my house either. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to bring that
Oh
energy
no,
into my house.
I don't know. I stay away from anything
Yeah.
like ghost evil stuff. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I
Same.
don't want to put that in my life.
I know. So I try
You
telling
don't
my
wanna
boys
open
that
them
too. Like, oh,
doors.
I don't want to bring that, and it's the same. It's the same
Cycle,
thing
yeah.
that
Yeah.
I'm seeing too. And then
Yeah.
one day they'll be parents, and they'll be hopefully, you know, into their religion,
Yeah.
whatever, and hopefully they'll understand that too. And it's just a continuous cycle because they're
Yeah.
kids, you know. Everything
Yeah.
is everything is what they see right now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they don't understand like in depth of what that energy can even
Right.
bring in.
Right
Oh,
now,
for
our job
sure.
is to plant the seeds,
Exactly.
because they're not going to get it right now. But
Yeah.
one day when they get older, they're going to remember back on those words,
Uh-huh,
and they're going to
yeah.
like, oh, that's what they meant. Oh, that's what
Yeah.
she said. Oh, I get it now, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't expect them to get
Exactly.
it now, because we didn't. I mean,
Well,
when you
we
look at it, but-
we the way like you and me and maybe you, I don't really know, but like how we talk about Jesus in the house and go to church and read the Bible and you know try to push it on them a little.
Right.
We didn't have that, you know. So like
Yeah.
I remember seeing Dad, you know, reading the Bible, but that's all. We never talked about Jesus in the house. It was kind of awkward to ever like. Now I could be like, praise the Lord. And I would have felt so awkward to ever say that in my life when I was a
Right.
kid.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
we all
like,
probably would have laughed at you.
oh, yeah, I know,
Like, you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like
It
that
would've
was
been, like,
not something.
awkward.
But now it's like Jesus is cool now.
Yeah, like,
like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like just because we know now the
Mm-hmm.
feelings that we that are able to get from
Oh,
you
it's
know
the best.
I'm
feeling.
not like
Love it.
super religious and like going to church like the way
Yeah.
that I should, but I know that I should be doing that. But I also know that that is a very strong feeling and it is powerful, and I
yeah.
love it too. I just
Right.
like do it on my own time, kind of
Right.
more
Yeah.
personal for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I like to go to church when I feel like I need to be there in that environment. But I think it just what's most important is just even if it's sitting in your room with your own Bible and you're doing that on your own time, you're growing that relationship with God, and
Yeah.
He knows that and you know that, and
Yeah.
I don't think you have to necessarily like go to church every Sunday or yeah, it's good to go and it feels good to go, but I don't live my
Like
life
you're not a
that
bad
way.
person
It's-
if you
Right,
don't
if
go.
you
It's
don't.
about
Yes.
the relationship with Jesus.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
the
about your
relationship.
conversations with
Right.
Jesus. Like,
Right. And that's all that matters. I
Yeah.
feel like, and it's funny because every night I'm like, please forgive me for my sins. And that always gets me because I'm like,
Keep doing the same thing over
I'm
and over
like,
again.
once again, I'm asking you. And that's the worst part of doing my nightly prayers is asking for forgiveness of my sins, because I'm like, I'm going to try to do better tomorrow. But I know I've already asked you for forgiveness for this, and here we are again, but that's the thing. Like, I know He's a forgiving God, and
Of course.
He knows that, as long as it's not like intentional, like I'm just saying sorry just so I can, get your blessings. And I know I'm going to do this tomorrow. No, I want to actually try to do better tomorrow. I can't
Yeah.
guarantee it, but
it's hard
I'm
because
trying.
when you get closer to Jesus, you start seeing all the sins that you start doing, and then every day you're trying to try harder and harder,
Yeah.
and it's hard because you're trying to like kill that person that you once were and try to become better. And it's so hard, especially when your whole life, you've been this
Yeah.
certain way and you're trying to now change yourself. And God is patient. Okay.
Yeah.
God will,
Yeah.
he's a forgiving God,
Yeah. It's just trying to make yourself better every
Yeah,
day.
but
morally,
yeah.
Just trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
Just like like that bracelet that people used to wear, WWJD. What would Jesus do?
Oh, I have that
Like
on
I
right
think
now.
about that all the time, and I'm
What
like,
would Jesus do?
because He wants you
Yeah.
to live more like Him, and I'm like, certain situations, I'm like, okay, let me pause for a second.
Oh, I know.
What would Jesus do here? Okay. And
Yeah.
try to live your life that way. Like and what that means is just being a better person, being nice to
Yeah.
people, being kind, showing compassion,
Mhm.
things like that. I see it every day at work. Sometimes there's patients, that are rude or whatever on the phone
Yeah.
to, my coworkers, and they're stressed out. I'm like, well, you know what? Yesterday I was
Yeah.
like, maybe she's just having a bad day.
Yeah.
Maybe something happened today. Just try to go about it this way.
Yeah.
Let's try a different approach. Or
Yeah.
sometimes I'll say, send them to me. I'll talk to them. And I
Mhm.
usually, that person that's angry, every time they say a person's angry on the phone, as soon as I get to them,
Yeah.
I'm like, that was the nicest person I ever talked to. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
you got to kind of show that kind of compassion, because you just don't know what they're going through. They're
For sure.
sick, or they've got family
Yeah.
problems going on, or whatever it is in life. Like, just try to show
Mhm.
compassion. So,
Yeah.
and that's just something along the way that, and I'm not going to say I wasn't like that before I started, reading
Yeah,
my
yeah,
Bible,
yeah.
but I'm more aware of it.
Aware
now.
of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think
sure.
that it's interesting because in relationships, like with your husband or your wife, it's like you put them almost before anybody and anything. The same way that you would be more cautious and aware of hurting them, doing something to wrong them. Why, like we had,
Oh, for
why
sure.
do like and when you start putting God above everything, it's like, well, why would you do this? You wouldn't do this in front of your partner. Why are you doing this,
Exactly.
like in front of your God, or like
Yeah.
something, a sin or something, like,
Yeah. That's so true.
yeah, it's like you don't think about it like that.
Yeah,
If
you
I'm going to be
don't.
loyal to my partner, why am I not loyal to my God?
Exactly. 100%. I agree.
A lot of times people ask us if we've been in the military because we've moved around so many times. I think I've calculated it about 9 different schools, I want to say, from the time going from kindergarten to senior year in high school. Yeah, and it's probably been more for you, actually.
I lost count, but yeah, I did try to count it one day, and I was like, dang, that's a lot of different schools,
lot.
And it was funny because yesterday at work, we were talking about it, me and some of the girls, and they were like, oh yeah, I've had the same friends since like middle school, and someone else, and they're talking about the grade school, they had the same
Yeah,
friends.
we cannot.
And I can't
we-
relate. I can't
no,
relate.
I
I
have
can't
people
relate,
that
yeah.
me and
Yeah.
and I think you have people too. But like we have people that we have kept up with throughout the
Yeah.
years, but there's that one from this school, one from this school.
Yeah.
It's not like we grew up with a whole
Yeah.
group of friends
know. I
that we've
have, like-
known each other. Everyone's
friend
known
groups.
each
I have
other.
best
No friend
friends. I
groups.
have best friends for life from 3rd grade, which was in Tampa, Florida, 6th grade, Brooklyn, New York, and then Long Island. My other
Right.
Yeah.
So I have all these best friends.
Yeah.
all
And,
over.
and it's so funny because I keep up with them on like Facebook. Like I have my 7th grade best friend who we're still, we still chat here and there, but she's a special person to me. And then I have like my 9th grade, 10th grade best friend. We talk here and there, but she's still special to me. And it's like, and then I made friends like after I moved, really once I moved to Tampa, I made like a few friends that, I hold near and dear to me, but I don't see them often, maybe once a year. And that's, so I can't relate when people are talking about their friend groups or they've known this person since, but they're still hanging out like a normal,
yeah.
basis. And I'm just like, I'm sitting in the conversation, like, just like, do. And I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, and, and that's why it's like, I like that my high schooler, she's got a group of friends and I want that for her. I try to keep her
They've been in the
from
same
moving.
city at least.
Yeah,
Right,
for
right,
sure.
You know,
exactly.
because
Yeah.
kids will go from school to school in the
Right.
same
Yeah.
city, but like if you're going state to state, different
Yeah.
every 2 years,
And it
really
wasn't
is
the
what
age
it was.
of like internet. So at that time, how are you going to keep up? Write
Yeah.
letters, and then you
Oh,
lose
I
track.
know.
And then
We did, you
I
know.
would often wonder, like, I
Yeah.
wonder whatever happened to this person. They might have changed their name by now.
Yeah.
Right? And I would try to search them on Facebook or something. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder what they're
It's
doing.
hard,
now.
yeah.
Oh well, I guess I'll never know. So
I think that doing that does have positives though in the same time because
Yeah.
we got to go to different cities,
yeah,
Oh my gosh,
different cities
for sure.
bouncing around everywhere.
different types of people.
we always came back to
religions.
Tampa,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
going to New York, different parts of New York and then into Long Island also. So
I'm glad we moved all those.
I'm
like,
kind of
honestly,
glad
I
too because we
really-
got
Yeah.
a really fun, it was a cool
Yeah.
experience. And it
Right.
was like, when we started school, someone, kids are weird. They'd be like, "You want to be my friend?" And I'm like, "Okay," but I'm only gonna be here for probably about 2 years, so we
If
can.
that,
Don't get too
Don't
close.
get
don't
too
get
close.
attached.
Don't get too
Don't get
attached.
attached. And that's the thing too. I learned like once I got to high school, really, I was just like, we would start school and we would joke around and say, well, here we go. Don't get too attached to anybody because we're not going to be around for much longer. At some point.
Even though I still did. I was
Yeah,
like, I'm
and
gonna get a best friend.
or when you just started making friends and then you have to move, it's like, God.
Yeah, it
But
sucks, yeah.
looking back, it's like, yeah, I appreciate that the experience of getting because some people are very more closed minded or
Yeah.
closed in. They don't know. Like I feel like we were in New York, which is like the melting pot, right? So everybody's different religions, different backgrounds, races, everything,
Yeah.
and I feel like that gave us a good blend of getting just to, have good, I don't know, all around being able to get along with all different types of people,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, I feel like if I was just in Tampa the whole time, in a small
It
town, or
wouldn't have
something,
shaped
I
us to be
wouldn't-
who we are because we can
Yeah.
be very what is the word like I don't know, like we could blend easily anywhere, like adjust to our environment
Like a
easily,
chameleon.
like a chameleon.
Yeah.
We can adjust to our environment,
Totally.
and so yeah, and it's like it doesn't just limit you to one thing. What is a school that you've gone to that you like loved the most or disliked the most?
Oh, I know
My
that.
favorite school would probably be the schools in Long Island. I would have to say Paca Middle School, which is not called Paca no more.
It's not.
No, they changed it. I think I don't know, they did something. But anyways, and
William
William Floyd
Paca.
High School. Those are my 2 favorite schools.
No, my favorite was Robinson High School. Shout out to Robinson High School. 9th and 10th grade there.
You always love Robinson High School.
I
Of
love
course,
it.
it's part of the marching band.
I was in the marching band. I made a lot of friends there. I made a lot of friends there, and just not only just from the band, just all different groups, and it was good times. So that was the most heartbreaking to leave, and I didn't find anything like that again. So yeah, but one I hated the most, actually, I have also love for 210 Elizabeth Blackwell 210 in Queens, South Ozone Park, Queens. But anyways, the one I did not like was middle school because we had just moved from New York to Tampa, and I was in 8th grade, and it was hard. The kids were not nice.
Wait, you middle school?
Yeah,
Where'd you go?
I went to Madison Middle School in
Oh,
South
yeah, yeah,
Tampa.
yeah.
Oh, you went to Madison. Okay.
Yeah.
I
And
went to
it was the
Madison
worst
also.
year of my life. I hated it.
Oh,
But then once I
man.
got to
I hear ya,
Robinson,
bro.
it was a whole other story. Everybody was
Yeah.
different, and I was different, and it was
Yeah,
better
that's
to-
like
Wait, was Madison the grade that you were in when you were skipping school?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you and this grade and that.
Look,
This grade
the
and that.
kids, the kids were not nice, and so I just didn't want to be there. And
Yeah.
I would skip school. Somehow I still passed, and somehow my parents never found out I was.
No, they
skipping.
did find out because of me.
Well, I don't remember
I
that.
mean, remember, because you and Diana both got letters from the school saying how many times you guys had skipped, like, like they weren't showing up to school and that they were about to get expelled or something. And I was like, oh my God. And Diana's out in the backyard burning the letter.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't
And
remember
I
that.
think, I'm pretty sure I told mom and dad about it. Because
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't want to see you guys
I thought
going
Jimmy
down.
was the one that blew up.
I
her
probably
phone.
did.
You don't
I
even know how
probably
many
said it
times-
was Jimmy because I didn't, but I think I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
truth comes out.
Yeah, I'm saying like Jimmy
Wow.
wouldn't have. Jimmy would have been like, oh, sorry.
Jimmy
Oops.
was
Like he probably
oblivious.
would have been
would
like,
not, yeah, he would not care.
he would have been the easiest person
Well,
to use as
We always
a
got in trouble
as a cover.
because of you and Diana. It was so annoying. Like, oh,
Oh,
we got in trouble.
sorry.
Like, I'm like, I had nothing. Like Jenny told me to do something, like give a letter to someone, and I'm like, okay.
Easy.
I'm like at elementary school, and then I got in trouble
Because I was
for
like, I'm not sure
giving the
about this letter. Let
Like,
me just give it to Lisa. And
I
let
didn't know
her
what's
do
on the
it.
letter. So messed up.
I also kind of feel like responsible in a way as we've grown up and gone to different states and like in different cities anyways, when we would have huge groups of friends, everyone was all doing good stuff, like we were all good kids. Then we move away and then we find out that they're getting into drugs or they're getting into trouble. And
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
we-
I always
yeah.
felt like we were such positive influences in our friends. And I don't know if that's giving too much responsibility on ourselves, but
Yeah.
you know what I
much
mean? Like, I just
kudos.
feel like a lot of times I'd be like, dang, if we were still living there, like they wouldn't have done that. Or they would have still been like, on a good path or doing good things. I don't know.
knows? Who
I've
knows?
always felt like that.
Really, I don't give it much thought at all.
I feel like
Not
I
to
can't.
toot
I
her
can't
own
help
horn.
everybody.
I just have always felt like, like just very connected with people. I feel like, and it just like, it hurts me.
Yeah,
If
you
I know
always
that
think
you guys,
so much about.
I
the other
think so
person.
much about them.
you
Yeah. So
do.
it's just like, oh man, how could I have helped you or, gotten you out of this situation? I think my favorite school, well, one of my, I think I enjoyed high school the most out of everything.
Yeah.
Well, William Floyd and going to Lato also.
Yeah.
I liked going. I know you hated going to Lato
Well,
when we first got there.
Yeah, when we first got there, I hated it in 10th grade. I could not stand late till high school. But then, next
Then
year.
we joined our
11
Latin
oh,
dance
yeah, the Latin dance
groups, and
team
so
was
that
so
was
fun.
that just made our
Yeah.
whole experience so much more
Yeah.
better and memorable too
Yeah.
because we did Latin dancing in William Floyd.
Yeah.
We were the first year that they started
Yeah.
that,
And
and
then
I think
first
it was
year
the
in
first year at
Lato.
Lato
Yeah.
also. So it was kind of like
No.
we just left one school because did that, and I was at Floyd for 2 years.
Yeah.
Doing Latin dancing, which we loved. We performed
Yeah.
it and taught
So
it. Like, it was
fun, so
amazing. And then
fun.
we came down to Tampa, and they just started it. Like, we just
Yeah,
came in
it
at the
was
right time.
amazing, yeah.
It was kind of like a nice little way for us to kind of get warmed up.
Yeah,
To a new school.
for sure. It was
Especially,
so
everyone
nice.
spoke Spanish.
I know, yeah. And I didn't know anybody's names because I wasn't used to this. We came from a white school. In,
Yeah, William Floyd
in
was
Long
like
Island.
predominantly white. I feel
Predominantly,
like,
yeah.
and then, you had Latin
I was like,
groups.
I don't know that
all
I
the
am.
Latin people, I feel like we were friends with in there.
Yeah.
So.
But I eventually liked Lato because 11th grade year, I met my husband. Yeah, so it got better,
A lot of times, I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
my son last night was saying that kids in his school think that he's Russian. And I was like, they think you're Russian? Why? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, huh. And then they're like, Mom, you kind of look Russian. And I was like, how do you guys know what Russian looks like? And so I was telling Vince, and he's like, yeah, you do look like you could be Russian. And I'm like, huh, that's weird.
I've
okay.
never heard that before for you.
I never in my life. Well,
Never.
actually, no. Yeah, actually, when we lived in Brooklyn, I remember this lady walked up to me in a
Oh, I remember
in
you saying
a
something
deli,
like
and
that.
she's like speaking Russian, and I was like, I don't
That's
know what you're talking. And I was like so annoyed.
Oh my god.
But it's hard for people to understand. There are so many people like us though that are Hispanic and didn't grow up learning the language.
And don't
For
maybe
sure.
maybe show maybe they
Yeah.
don't look Spanish.
And that
You know, I remember I was working in T-Mobile and my name was on my badge, and so my last name is Spanish, and people would start talking to me in Spanish, and I had to be like, I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish, and some of them would get so annoyed with
They
me.
get offended. I mean,
You know,
because
and I
you should
felt
know
bad,
your
like,
language.
I
we
should.
should know our language.
You know, I didn't even know my mom spoke Spanish until I was an adult. She always pretended like she didn't know how to speak it.
I
my
remember
opinion.
being back in kindergarten. I've always been so interested in learning, and I'm in kindergarten. I would be like, Mom, can you teach me what this says? How do you say this? And so she would teach me these things here and there, and I would always remember what it was.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, but it's just like, you see that I'm interested and I have that desire to
Yeah.
want to learn it. Why not keep going? So just like, little things I've been able to teach my boys that they know, and just like growing up also in Latin communities too, like it helps. I can understand and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though because not all of us have that same experience. So like Diana lives in South Carolina. Diana has lived in Long Island. Like she listens to only country music. So I feel like she really doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
We went to Leto, like what I mean, like we learned a little, some stuff
Yeah.
too there.
Yeah, I could like
And-
understand Spanish if like they're talking very slow. But when
They
they
have to
start
speak
talking fast,
slowly,
I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't
there's-
know.
there's-
Yeah, if they
I
speak
There's
don't
slowly,
know.
they're
conversations I
good.
can listen to, and I have an idea of what
Yeah.
they're talking about. I know when I was
Mhm.
little, like 6, maybe 7, 8, like grandma would talk to me in Spanish, and I would understand her.
Yeah.
Now, when she speaks to me, some things have been lost, but
Mhm.
for some reason, when she says certain things, I know what she says,
Yeah.
and I'll answer her in English, but
Yeah.
but as far as speaking it, I don't think I have the confidence. And it's funny because there's people that come from Spanish countries, and their English is broken, but it's still, we can still understand it. And I'm always worried about being made fun of because I'm
No.
not speaking good Spanish, but they're not worried about speaking bad, good or bad English. And I'm like, I want to be more confident in that way, like
Right,
because
you're too hard. Like we're too
you're
hard
too
on
hard on
ourselves.
No,
ourselves.
It doesn't have to be
yeah.
that,
Perfect.
I've talked to people that like are fluent in Spanish, and they always say like, just try it because they're happy to see you
Yeah,
trying.
to see
it.
that
like
you're
don't
trying.
feel like
Yeah.
ashamed or that you don't know how to say it. Just try.
right.
And
Yeah.
don't help you through it.
I think it's because like there's been times where I try to say something and been laughed at, like, oh, that's not how you say it, and so I'm just like, well, I'm not going to speak it anymore now. I'm just gonna answer in English. That's all I can do, like so.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
gotta do those like Babbel
yeah.
classes.
I mean,
and
we're
learn
we're
Spanish.
Puerto Rican and Cuban, and they're Puerto Ricans, Cubans. They're all different colors, white, dark. They're all shades. And just because you don't know Spanish doesn't mean you're less Spanish.
Hey, Cameron
Or
Diaz
it's-
is
it's
Cuban,
also
and
a
she's blonde
fact
hair,
that-
blue eyes, right?
That you're
Yeah.
considered like less of it if you weren't born in the country.
Yeah, but it's not right. But
But like, but J Lo's Puerto Rican.
Well,
but-
let's not even
But
get into
you know what I'm
J-Lo.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
but she learned. She was just like one of us. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she learned it growing up. She
Yeah.
didn't learn it like from birth. So it's like,
Yeah,
why
but
is she
she's from the
more?
Bronx.
Why is she more Puerto Rican than us? You know
From
what I
the
mean?
Bronx,
Like,
bro.
she's from the Bronx.
why? Because she got a tan. Well, so if I had a tan, maybe
Yeah.
I would be more.
Maybe I'll be a little.
But we're white skinned, right?
Yeah.
That's I mean, I'm okay with it. I know I'm super
I'm
white, but
I'm good.
it is
I'm-
what it is. I'm not trying to
I'm
be out here
happy who I
baking in the
am.
sun. Give me some.
Yeah, I'm white and redhead.
Yeah, and Lisa got red hair, but a lot of people, I feel like it's ignorance on both sides though. It's ignorance,
Yeah.
like assuming that we're less Hispanic, whatever,
Yeah.
because we didn't grow up learning the language. If we did know the language, then we would be considered more. Obviously, I get it. We should know it. We should be taking it upon ourselves
Yeah.
to practice more
sure,
and
yeah.
learn more. Like when people are like Caucasian and they know Spanish, that is to me like
So impressive.
so impressive.
Wait,
I
you're
envy
cool.
that.
And,
I'm like,
and
cool.
I'm just
Damn.
like annoyed at myself,
Yeah,
man, because
yeah.
I'm like,
And then
Yeah.
other people that have like 3 languages they know. I'm like,
yeah,
all
I
right.
know, like
My
come
thing
on,
used
stop
to
just
be-
showing off.
My thing used to
Killing
be
it.
like, oh, my excuse was, well, my mom didn't teach me.
Yeah, it was like-
now I'm like, no, I can't use that
Yeah.
excuse. I can teach
Yeah.
myself.
We can teach
like,
ourselves.
Like, there's
Yeah,
no
for
reason.
sure.
you know?
Duolingo, hello.
Right. And I've started Duolingo. I know a little something. But
One day, maybe we'll have our podcast all in Spanish.
I could do a little.
AI.
I could hold
We
it
could
a
use
little.
AI. They have AIs that you just
Oh
like
my
talking
gosh.
to, and they just like start to speak in whatever kind of Spanish you want to speak. Make it look like you're saying
Yeah.
it in their tones too,
Wow.
because everyone has their own dialect. So
Yeah.
it's funny for us to teach our kids and get them into starting at a younger age to learn the language. If they can learn more, then learn more. My kids are finally actually interested now in learning Spanish. Before they're like, "Oh, mom, I don't want to do it." I've given them little lessons online and stuff, and in the past, and they were not interested. But I feel like now they're more ready for it because they go to it's all predominantly
Oh,
Latin
yeah,
in
for
there,
sure,
you know.
yeah.
So
it gives them the motivation.
it gives them
Yeah.
I'm like, don't you guys want to speak with your friends? I'm sure they're talking to each other, and you guys don't even know what they're saying. Ask them what they're saying. Ask them how to say words. Ask them how to say sentences. I listen to mostly Spanish music. and I try to figure out what they're saying. I'll look at the lyrics and translate them. You know what I mean? Like, and so
Yeah.
so you can speak the words better when you learn what you're supposed to say. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, language barriers can be very frustrating for both sides. There's
For
times when
sure.
someone comes up to me in any language and they're speaking something and I don't understand it, and I wish I could understand because I would like to help. I don't know, like, whether
Yeah.
they're asking for directions, and that's the most frustrating for me. But there's also, there's tools you can use, like Google Translate.
Yeah, we have so many things at our fingertips now.
Yeah, I'm actually good. Like when they use hand gestures, I could understand it better. You know.
Mime it
No,
out.
I could understand
Yeah.
it. If they say, something.
Yeah, right.
and then,
Yeah,
like,
and that's what helps
like,
a lot of
"Oh,
times
okay,"
too.
and
If
then, like,
someone
I
is
try.
speaking
Yeah.
in Spanish, and it's like kind of their body language will help you understand it also.
for sure.
I could read. I mean, I can read and write
Me too.
in
I
Spanish.
can read in Spanish.
Like
I mean,
I can. Like
probably
I
right.
can.
I know
but
I can. What are you laughing about?
I remember. I remember learning.
I
that.
cannot.
Yeah, I could read Spanish.
I mean, certain words pop out, and I use context clues, so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, no, this word. Oh, okay, I think they might be talking about this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best I've.
I
got,
actually made like a little novella on YouTube. So
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
yeah, we'll put in the comments in the description where it's at. You can look at it. It's really funny. Okay, really
Wait,
funny.
what was the name of the lady's husband? Raul.
Raul. But yeah, it's funny. It's so silly. But yeah,
It is
If
so
you wanna
funny.
laugh,
I remember
just watch
watching
it.
and just like cracking up. Someone.
I know. Yeah, it's funny.
It was funny.
Google was not helping. I tried Googling, how to say some stuff in Spanish, and it did not work. It did not.
I feel like
help me.
Google Translate has stepped it up, perhaps now.
Probably since then,
and
yeah, because it was like
that was years
2017,
ago.
I think, that I did it. So
You could probably have some more on.
No, I'm very grateful for Google Translate. If I have to email a patient in Spanish, I just type it out in English, copy and paste that, send it. We're having a conversation, and it's great.
Things are going well.
Things are-
Because our last name was definitely giving an issue
Rodriguez,
for us.
yeah.
Rodriguez
Yeah.
growing up, and people were like, they always every time. A lot of times, as an adult, before I changed it now to Serrano, but before they hear my last name is Rodriguez, they think that it was a name I married into.
oh,
So we get to get into all these fun conversations often. At least now we can share it with people because there's a lot of people like us.
Yeah.
And that can actually relate to us. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
You know,
These
we
are
can
just things that when we get together for coffee or whatever, we just sit and just like the conversation just keep flowing
Yeah.
because we just have a lot on our minds and we're just kind of
Yeah.
There are
this
so
is just
many
our
of us.
typical.
For sure,
This is
yeah.
our typical just.
there
Yeah.
being
Conversations,
6
I
of us
guess.
siblings, everyone's going through something, some kind
For
of
sure.
situation. We share our stories with each other, and then we can share it out with everybody else because out of between the 6 of us, there's many people going through the same situations.
yeah.
And some people don't have anyone to like talk to about it or
know.
like get ideas on how to get out of those situations. So we can
Yeah.
help. We can be
It's-
helpful to people.
It's so nice. We always do like coffee time and chat and like Zoom on like a
Video chats.
chats, and it's just so nice to just be able to get together with, family or whoever it is you want to talk to get out what you're going through or different things.
Or just
you know?
catch up
Life-
and see how
catch
everybody's
up.
days, or
Yeah.
their week's been, or
It's
what they're going to
nice.
be up to today, and just, things just pop off. Conversations just pop off.
I would love
Yeah.
to get like family, like
Oh,
more
that-
family on here.
that'd
You
be
know what I mean?
nice,
Like kind
for
of
sure.
swap it out sometimes.
Get your
or-
brothers, get Jimmy and
know.
Joey.
Oh,
on
that
here.
would be nice.
Let them talk about their apartment. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man. No.
Just kidding. Let them hash it out, and you can sit in between them and just.
Yeah,
kinda
you'll be the mediator for
referee.
them.
Jimmy, what do you feel about this crazy chihuahua in the apartment? We're gonna need another chair because we only have 4 right now. But shout out to Vince Romo for being our commentator in the background, for being our producer.
Commentator.
If you want to.
Yeah.
If you guys are interested in learning more about who we are, you can follow me at OHH_Jenna, like Forrest Gump said. And here we have Melissa.
You can follow me on Instagram. It's Melz, MELZZZ, 3 Z's, 83. And I'm on Instagram.
Yeah, you can follow me, Lisa Yambo. I'm also an actress, and I also have a TikTok called She Blessed Believed, and it's all about Jesus talk, Bible talk, and just growing in your faith. And so yeah, we'll put in the description and follow me.
Yeah, her page might be a little bit more exciting. Jen's too.
Very
mine's
exciting.
pretty. Mine's pretty. I don't go on it too often, so but whatever.
She's looking for a little excitement in her life. Single and ready to mingle. Let's get it.
Well,